Perfect. Oh, I know. Hi, I'm Robin Bagent with College of Southern Idaho.
Hi Robin, I'm Rick Minch. How are you today?
I'm doing quite well. Thank you very much for coming to our class. And I would like to introduce you to our students. If you guys would please come up, shake hands, because that way I will give you a chance to practice shaking hands. I'm sorry, we'll go ahead and let you cook. Not that you guys are cooking.
Sylvie. Nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm Megan.
Megan. Rick, nice to meet you.
Amanda.
Amanda. Rick, nice to meet you. Nice to meet
Okay.
you.
So everyone's had a chance to practice shaking hands, so I can mark that off the list of objectives. Rick is going to work with us today to talk about the sales process. I purchased a car with his dealership, actually with him, earlier this week. And if the car dies, I know where to find him and how to hunt him down. And beyond that, he's going to talk to you about the sales process. Remember, we went through current situation, desired situation, benefits. So he's going to talk about how that applies in the real world.
First thing I want to make clear is 9 times out of 10, people are not on a car lot necessarily because they want to be. So first thing is to make people feel welcomed and comfortable. Attitude is everything. Okay. If someone comes on the lot, like Robin did, I approach her car and thank you for coming to Lithia Twin Falls or Chevrolet of Twin Falls. My name is Rick. How can I help you today? Oh, louder. And after your greeting, communication is very important. You need to find out why they're there. In Robin's case, she was looking for a small SUV, 4-wheel drive, good fuel economy, not a lot of miles, certain price range. Makes things, pretty simple for me at that point. After that, it's make sure you're dealing with the primary buyer and that everyone that is part of the purchasing process is present. Okay, these are all on that piece of paper right here. After you find out exactly what they're looking for, you make sure everybody's there that needs to be there, then you start looking at the vehicles. So we walked around, showed her the vehicles, the SUVs that fit what she was looking for, and then we went on a couple of test drives. After we found that, the first one that she was interested in, do a little demonstration on it, talk about the features and benefits. What, the feature, this has cruise control. Benefit, you don't have to keep your foot on the gas on long drives. Safety, airbags, things like that, the 4-wheel drive, how it works. After that, after the vehicle is decided upon, find out what it's going to take, what do I need to do to send you home in a new car today. Robin had her own financing set up, and that was it. So you have it moves quickly, and you don't have a lot of time to establish trust. And establishing trust, establishing a rapport, that is also, if the person doesn't trust you, they can think that car is worth $1 million and they still won't buy. So it's a stressful enough situation for most people. I don't like strong-arming people. I don't like trying to force people into decisions. You drive the vehicle every day, not me. If you don't love it, there's no point in me trying to push it on you. And I think that was a situation that she encountered at another dealership.
Yes, the dealership that I had gone to before, I had said, I don't want a white vehicle, period. And he says, not a problem. What about this one? I know it's white, but... And I said, okay, let me help you understand why. My husband was in a white van when he was killed in a car accident, and when I see white vehicles, I know it's been a few years, but when I see white vehicles, it is very difficult for me, and I don't want to ride in something that I picture smushied. And he went, oh wow, I understand, because as Rick's job was to paint pictures for me of a successful car ownership project or possibility. I'm trying to paint a picture for why this needs to be out of his mind. And he says, wow, I do understand. Okay, well, this one's not really white in all lights. In some lights it looks more green. I walked off the lot at that point and came over and talked to them. And I had talked to someone else at the dealership previously about a month earlier at the Lithia Chevrolet. Okay.
Yep, that's all.
I had talked to another person about a month earlier. But one of the important details of being a salesperson is understanding where someone is in the buying process. And we'll go over this more in detail. Are they in the awareness point where they need to be made aware that there is an issue? Are they in the needing to decide what to do with that? Or are they in the implementation that you have to help them get to the end of the project? So when I went to Rick, I already knew I wanted a vehicle. I didn't know what vehicle, so I needed help getting there. And I wanted to be able to purchase and be finished with that buying process. When I first visited, I was also in that same cycle, but I didn't see anything that fit my needs. Had he given me a business card, when I gave some time to allow for the stock to rotate a bit and came back in, I would have asked for the person and would have been able to do business. But I don't remember who I talked to. So in this case, Rick was there and he was able to help.
And I also showed her a white car. But when we pulled up to it, I said, you know, I understand this one's white. I can find you one in any color you want and have it here within a day or two. If you like the way it rides, the way it handles, and now it was a brand new one, it wasn't, you know, but, you know, I have that ability, you know, it's.
He recognized my
She,
issue.
What's that?
You recognized my issue.
Yeah. And, you know, that, and first and foremost with dealing with anybody, if with an objection, first thing is to understand it. There are some things that you're just never going to be able to overcome, and that's one of them. You know, and in this case, it was her husband that was in an accident. But you know, we deal with people all the time that their cars in our body shop getting fixed. You know, after they've been hit by whoever, and it's, you know, I want another car that does this, looks like this, has this, any color but that. And you know, it's you have to, you know, in a lot of ways we're order takers. It's pieces to a puzzle that you have to fit together. Now, are there some things that people, you know, the hot button issues, the hot button topics that people have to have, cruise control, CD player, you know, MP3 player, you know, auxiliary port. Those are things that you can do afterwards. But does it have airbags? Does it have power adjustable seat? I mean, those are things that you can't. You know, so you can always overcome the little things like electronic, the stereo. But when it's a big significant thing, like someone was in an accident in that particular color of vehicle, listen to your customer every time.
What questions do you have?
Do you find it harder these days with like Kelley Blue Book and NADA trying to make a sale when somebody's like, hey, I looked up this car and I think it goes for this, and you guys are trying to sell it for way more? Do you find it harder to try to sell to them?
When people come in and they have booked out a vehicle that we have on our lot, I have book sheets for everything on my lot, every used vehicle on my lot. I will sit you down and show you the book sheets. What you see online is, and we'll say CD player, premium audios, things like that. What it won't say is 20-inch aluminum wheels and other things that increase to the value, low mileage. So if that's and that actually works both ways. People will come in, they've already booked out the car that we have on our lot, and well, you're asking too much for this car. I can sit down and validate why my car is priced at that. Everything on it, mileage, condition, whatever. People come in and they've already booked out the car they want to trade in. But they look at retail. They don't look at trade-in value or wholesale. And if some, you have to be realistic both ways. You can't expect me to give you what I would sell the car for after you trade it in and give you trade-in value for the one that I have on the lot. That one's actually pretty easy to overcome.
What's your biggest challenge when selling to someone?
It usually comes down to payment, getting the payment where people need to be. Everybody, well, how much down payment is it going to take me to get into this car? That honestly is not up to us. If you need any down payment, that comes from the bank. The bank says, well, we'll do this with this much down. Now, that being said, if you want your price, your monthly payment at a certain place, to get your monthly payment there, the only way to do that, if it's not where you want to be at zero cash down, is with a down payment.
How do you distinguish your company from other car sales?
We put the price of every vehicle right on the car. Whether it has warranty, whether it does not. If you go to our website, twinfallschevrolet.com, we provide a full auto history of every used vehicle on our lot. All of ours we put the auto check through auction, so if the vehicle's ever been reported with any type of frame damage, salvage title, insurance buyback, lemon law, anything, if it has any type of branded title, our mother company, Lithia, will not let us resell the car. We are the only company in Twin Falls that has that as a set rule. There are a couple others in town that won't sell branded title vehicles, but most of them will.
How long have you been selling cars, and how many vehicles would you say your company sells, like monthly?
I've been with Lithia it'll be 4 years this coming June. And we typically average anywhere from 75 to 85 cars a month. That's among 6 salesmen.
What would you say are the top 3 strengths you have to be an effective salesperson?
You need to be an actor. I mean, really. And what I mean by that is you need to be able to read people, and you need to be able to accommodate that person's personality. Everyone's different. No two people are identical, and you need to be able to change so that you can work with them. That being said, sometimes you just can't. I have a hard time, the guys come in that are cowboy boots, hat, and and the younger guys, like the older dairy guys, they'll work with anybody, but the younger guys that are in the big lifted pickup trucks and stuff, they don't, I don't speak their type of redneck.
But there's someone else that does.
Exactly. And you turn that customer to another salesman who can relate, have common ground. That being said, I have a tendency to do really well with elderly people.
Oh,
That's not implying you.
nice save. Okay.
We have a couple of younger guys that are in their early 20s, and if they end up with somebody in their 60s, or more, they don't even try. They just come get me because they can't relate. And especially with newer vehicles, I understand the technology and everything, but somebody who's in their 60s, they don't care about Bluetooth. They don't care about navigation. They don't care that they can download photographs for the touchscreen. It's understanding who you're talking to and being able to communicate with them and doing it in the simplest way possible. Yes?
You had to show my daughter the Bluetooth. I'm feeling old.
Well, no, you asked me to tell her how to do it.
I know. That's because I knew she'd understand.
But, now on the newer vehicles, almost everything comes with a touchscreen now. The one that you bought, we had to push the phone button and it was all through voice recognition. Voice recognition is difficult, and that's why these companies have got, like Chevy has MyLink, okay? Chrysler has Uconnect. Ford has Sync, which why you would want anything in your vehicle that could give you the blue screen of death, I would never understand. But everything you do through touch now. I mean, and your controls are on your steering wheel for your stereo, cruise control, all the information that's going on with your car, oil pressure, temperature, tire pressures, transmission. I mean,
And he had to know how to show me every single one of those things. So it wasn't enough for him just to be a salesperson. He had to be a tech person who could describe how to use all of those features.
my service department actually comes and gets me if they can't figure something out.
Oh. Do you get a lot of phone calls asking them, can you explain this to me again? Because that's a lot of information.
I invite people, especially, people that I've sold to call me anytime. If we can't figure it out over the phone, bring it in anytime. I have just open door policy. I even answer my phone on Sundays. So,
What is one of the most common things you run into that'll stop somebody from buying a car from you, like,
being too aggressive,
too aggressive?
trying to force them into something they're not comfortable with. I've seen 4 sales managers come and go because they don't know when to stop. And customers have filed complaints.
How do you deal with an unsatisfied customer?
Deal with what?
Unsatisfied customer?
You do everything within your power to fix it. Sometimes there's nothing you can do. On a pre-owned vehicle, if it has warranty, 9 times out of 10, the warranty will cover it. If there's no warranty on it and they didn't give an extended warranty, you can do it at dealer cost plus labor, but there are some people that are really easy to deal with, and some people you could hand them a briefcase full of $100 bills and they still wouldn't be satisfied. But the customer is always right. You do everything you can to make sure that they're happy, satisfied, and will come back and see you. But that being said, there comes a point in time with some people where you just have to be like, you know what, I'm sorry, we could not resolve this issue. Perhaps you should see another mechanic, or if it comes down to a financial thing, I don't deal with the financial aspect of it. I know that there have been times that our finance manager or general manager have had to get involved and the people ended up leaving happy. Now, what happened behind those doors, I have no idea. But, any of you work in restaurants? No?
Any of you ever eaten at a restaurant?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, when you go back to the same restaurant, let's say Applebee's, do you order the same thing every time just about? And do you appreciate having the same server? No? We're in that same line of business. It's not the people traveling from here to Salt Lake or from Salt Lake to Boise. It's the people that live in our community and coming back and relying on us and knowing that we'll take care of them 100%. We have a full service dealership. We have service department with certified techs, technicians that have gone through General Motors training. We have a certified General Motors auto body and detail. So we'll do everything we possibly can. And yes,
What's been the most rewarding part of your job?
people coming back and seeing me. I have some people that are pretty close friends now that have purchased 5 vehicles from me in 4 years, a little under 4 years. I met them first when I worked at the Dodge store.
Please don't make me need another vehicle in under a year.
That's all up to you. But I've sold them their first 2 when I worked at the Dodge store. They came in to see me at the Dodge store. I've been over at the Chevy store for about a week, and they came over. And there are some people that are very brand loyal that will only buy Dodge, will only buy Chevy, will only buy Ford. These people aren't that kind of people. They come and see me. The gentleman who owns Burnt Lemon Grill, same way, personal friend of mine. It's having those people that come in and see me whenever they need any, and not even just a car. Just to come in and chat and have a cup of coffee. I have folks that do that too, and so I've made some pretty good friends.
What about the sales process? What questions do you have directly related to the sales process. Give him a scenario. Show him or ask him how he paints a picture for a potential customer for a specific scenario.
So, say a customer comes in and they're almost 70. They have a vehicle that doesn't have a warranty, that got carjacked and then was used in armed robberies, and then they took it back to this happened to my aunt. They took it back to the detail shop, and the cops found it. They replaced everything. And some people told her not to tell the dealership that had been used in armed robberies or holdups or anything. And she told them anyways, they still took it in, but because of what had happened to the vehicle, they wanted to charge her more for the vehicle that she was going to purchase, more monthly payments. How do you?
How long ago was this?
It was in March.
Of this year?
Yeah. It was in Las Vegas,
Oh,
but
okay.
it wasn't here.
Things happen in Vegas and New York and Phoenix and, larger cities that just would never happen here. We have taken in vehicles on trade that have been reported stolen. Not necessarily used in a crime, but that affects the trade-in value, not the price of the vehicle that you're selling. Now, and it only affects the trade-in value if there was some type of damage. It's not branded title, it just says that the car has been stolen. And it was recovered. That being said, unless there was some type of significant damage to the vehicle, shouldn't affect it at all. We've actually we had somebody try to trade in a vehicle that had been reported stolen, where was it? Midwest somewhere, I can't remember, Missouri, Iowa, something like that. And we had to hold on to that car for 6 months until they came out and got it. And the people who were trying to trade it in had beat that car to crap.
So have him paint you a picture, Brock.
Say somebody comes onto the lot and they're like looking for someone else. They're like trying to look for cars for someone else. Someone else told them, hey, I just want this kind of car. Would you just go to the lot? I don't want to spend all the time at the lot. I just want you to. So what would you do to get?
Well, I would find out the circumstances. That's great. The person that you're looking for, what time, how soon are they looking at getting into something?
So you be the person who's looking and he's telling to you.
So I've got a friend, say in Boise, that's he sent me down here. He wants a pickup truck, a red. And he's pretty serious about getting it. He doesn't care what brand, but he wants 4x4 and something that he can take hunting. But somewhere around like 15 grand range.
Okay. Great. I've got several red pickup trucks in stock right now that we can take a look at, a couple of them in that price range. Do you know what he's looking for as far as what's in the vehicle or what the vehicle has, or does it just need to be 4x4, cruise control, and air conditioning?
Something that gets pretty good gas mileage, but I mean, I don't want it to be gutless either, something that.
I would go and show you the vehicles that I have, obviously, the red trucks, like what you're interested in. I would try to, I would get your friend's contact information obviously, if he's in Boise, that was gonna be the next thing, is find out why your friend couldn't come down, you made it easy, he's in Boise. Get your friend's contact information, email him some pictures, inside and out of the vehicle. Again, all that's on our website as well. Then I would try to make an appointment with your friend.
All right, I have a scenario. So let's say a car is set as, I don't know, $12,000. What if a customer wants to buy it cash for, let's say, $8,000, $6,000? How do you guys determine if that's affordable for your company or not?
We are a volume dealer. We do not mark up our vehicles $6,000. We just don't do it. You know, the buy here, pay here places, the corner lots, you know, when they say you can have this car for $1,500 down, the reason they want $1,500 down is you've already paid for what they own the vehicle for. Everything above and beyond that's interest. We don't do that. We want to make a little money on a lot of vehicles. We're not out to make a ton of money off of one person. Usually,
So how are you going to convince me that that car is indeed worth 12,000?
features and benefits. I'm gonna, you know, walk around that car and I'm gonna show you everything in it. The cruise control, air conditioning, safety features, airbags, where they deploy, what they cover. You know, the stereo system, remote start, heated seats. You know, you have to build value in the vehicle. You have to make that person realize why, or not realize, but understand why this vehicle, you know, this G6 is $12,000 and that one's $7,000. You know, this G6 is leather, heated seats, power seats both sides, remote start, you know, Alpine sound system, 6-disc CD changer, Bluetooth. You know, and this other one over here, well, it's manual windows, manual locks, no cruise control, 5-speed manual transmission. You know, those are the differences, and those are the thing, like earlier on the Blue Book. You know, a lot of people will book out something on our car lot, and they won't put all the features that the car has when they book it out, and those do increase value. And what my job is to show you how those features benefit you and make that vehicle valuable enough to you to appreciate it.
So when I came on the lot, in kind of a crabby mood from the previous, no, okay, really crabby. And you met me at my car, and he says, "How can I help you?" I rattled off a sentence. Not always the most, but you guys know me, I'm not always the most nicest. And it was, I'm looking for an SUV, 2011 or newer, 60,000 miles or less.
Around $20,000.
Yeah, and not white.
Not white.
And from that point forward, he had to know not only every vehicle in the entire lot and every feature in every vehicle, which is why your business that you're working with, you have to know everything there is to know about it so that you can determine those benefits and features. He had to be able to then ask me questions that would allow him to narrow down beyond that what would be best beneficial for me. The first one that I sat in, I barely cleared headroom. And,
Nissan Murano.
pardon?
Nissan Murano.
Okay. And we got out and he says, "What did you think?" I said, "I can barely sit in it, and my son-in-law, who's 6'7", would never be able to ride in the car." And that then still had to narrow things further, and he showed me the Jeep, which there was plenty of headroom. So how hard is it? I don't know how often you guys have turnover, but I would imagine you have to have a significant amount. How hard is it to keep up?
Keeping up with the vehicles, well, knowing what's on the lot isn't the problem. You know, I know I have this type of truck, this type of SUV. What I can't do is remember the prices on everything that's out there. I mean, I've got 80 pre-owned vehicles. I just can't, you know. That being said, once I open the door to the car, and I can tell 90% about that vehicle just by looking at the steering wheel. The steering wheel and what we call the center column, which is where your stereo and climate controls and stuff are. And that's, most people, that's all they care about. once they look at the outside of the car and they're like, I like this, that's the easy part. It's the stuff that's inside. Does it have cruise control? Does it have air conditioning? Does it have, steering wheel mounted radio controls, Bluetooth, the auxiliary port or auxiliary plug or USB port for your MP3 players? That's what most people are, once they sit down, it's okay, that's the first thing they do is they set the climate, they mess with the stereo, they, set the steering wheel, the mirrors. After that, if that stuff is what they're looking for, the rest is easy. Once it comes down to numbers, I'm not gonna lose you over price. So long as it's reasonable, asking, we get that a lot, will you take $6,000 cash on a $12,000 car? We don't have that kind of market, we just don't. But will I get you the absolute best deal I can? Absolutely.
How do you determine, and I know you don't personally make that determination, how does the dealership determine trade-in value?
We look at Kelley Blue Book and NADA. We look for any types of accidents, major dents, gouges in paint, if it's going to need tires or not, visibly what it's going to need, big tears in the upholstery, stains. What'll kill your car quicker than anything is smoking in it. Because it doesn't matter what we do, we're not getting that smell out. We can get it out of the upholstery, we can get it out of the carpet, we can't get it out of the fence. Once, and we go off of Kelley Blue Book wholesale, which is, what they're going through at auction, overall average, that same year, make, model, mileage. And so, yeah, we give you high Kelley trade-in value.
Which mine high Kelley trade-in value would have been 8, low was 6. They gave me 7. It had a large scratch from when a kid ran into it on his bicycle. It had a dented door from when one of those nasty wind pulled it out of my hands and it ran into a pickup truck. And the old guy says, looks like it did more damage to you than me. So it's all bent. And it did have new tires. They didn't even have the little indie things worn off yet. So $7,000 I figured was fair. And so I was okay with that. But I had already done my homework. I had blue booked out, well, I'm a nerd. I had blue booked out all the cars on their lot that fit my criteria. I had blue booked out my car. And I knew walking in that what I was willing to pay, and they came in at that number.
The other thing that sets Lithia apart from the other dealerships in town is after we take it in on trade, it goes straight into the shop. First thing it gets before a technician ever looks at it is an oil change and new wiper blades.
Needed wiper blades.
Doesn't matter if you changed the oil yesterday and you have the receipt, the sticker in the windshield to prove it, we're still going to change the oil. Then a technician looks at it. If there's any knocks, bangs, leaks, anything like that, it gets fixed. If it's under 80,000 miles. Over 80,000 miles, those are sold as an as-is vehicle, okay? Now, if there is factory warranty left at 80,000 miles, you'll have the rest of the manufacturer's warranty on the powertrain. But for, we still go through the vehicle. We make sure that it is, brakes are good, tires good. If it needs brakes, it gets brakes. If it needs tires, it gets tires. We check the transmission, engine, all that kind of stuff. On a vehicle under 80,000 miles, we'll replace stereos, we'll fix air conditioning, things like that. Over 80,000 miles, not necessarily, unless it's connected to a safety issue. Yes.
So adding to that, would you consider mileage one of the most important aspects of a vehicle?
As far as what?
Well, in general, like let's say a trade-in, how important is mileage for you guys to consider the price on it?
You take your first big hit at 100,000 miles, and believe it or not, it drops even more at 120. And that, you know, that's when most modern vehicles, 100,000 miles is when they're due for their first full tune-up. So if we have to do a full tune-up, you know, if it's got misfires or anything like that, you know, we have to take into account what that vehicle might take through the shop. So if it's obvious, you know, if it's on ball tires, you know, we know we're looking at, you know, anywhere from $500 to $1,000 for tires. You know, and that's all part of the price of the vehicle once it gets on the lot. But mileage both ways, trade in, and when people come in to buy something, everybody wants something low miles. But, you know, there's a lot of people out there, and like I said, not everyone on the car lot wants to come into a car lot. There are some people, their car just blew up, or they were just in an accident, or, you know, something happened, and they need something to get them from point A to point B for right now. Those are typically the people you have to calm down. They're already agitated because they're suddenly without transportation, and the car industry, you know, I understand the way people feel about it is the way I felt about it before I got into it. You know, some greasy, you know, slimy sales guys.
Oh, my ex-husband. No.
Try to force you into something you don't want, you know, and, you know, get you into a lemon, and, you know, I don't, you guys ever seen that movie True Lies? Bill Paxton in the Corvette? That's just, you know, that was my idea of car salesman, and I refuse to be that guy. But, you know, that being said, Lithia, we don't put garbage on the lot. If something has significant issues, it goes straight to auction. So, but I mean, we do have stuff that has 120, 130,000 miles on it. And, you know, we do that because there are people out there that need something to get them by for a few months until they have a down payment or whatever. That want something more reliable than what you can find on Addison Avenue.
So pretend for a moment that you are no longer in the car game. You are selling houses or clothing or timeshares or
I think people hate those salesmen more than cars.
yeah, no kidding. What characteristics, what practices would you take with you that cross-connect?
Learning your product, knowing what you're selling, knowing how to read people. You know, the first thing I have to overcome, any salesman has to overcome. I don't care if it's me, I don't care if it's the clerk at JCPenney's or at the gas station. I mean, the first thing out of most people's mouths, hello, welcome to Twin Falls Chevrolet, my name's Rick and you are. Oh, you know, I'm Robin. Great, nice to meet you. You know, how can I help you today? 9 times out of 10, 99.9% of the time, oh, just looking. How many times have you guys said it? Yeah. That's great. Process starts for everybody somewhere. What are you looking for? I mean, you really have to, you know, like when dealing with Robin, she knew what she wanted. I just had to show her what I had that fit what she was looking for. Most people, I have to work it out of them. You know, okay, you're looking for a sedan. Are you looking for, you know, something that gets good gas mileage? You're looking for a sports car. You know, I have to lead the conversation. And some, you know, same thing. There are some people that know exactly what they want. I want this truck, this way, right here, right now. But most people, buying a car is like a pair of shoes. You gotta try a few on before you find the one you like. And whether it's, you know, what we were talking about, whether it's selling cars, houses, timeshares, working at the Buckle, you know, you have to know what you have, and you have to be able to treat people the way you would like to be treated.
Do you have any other questions? Well, thank you very much, Rick, for joining us today.
Absolutely.
I have business cards, if you guys would like business cards, and I'd like to give that to you
Thank you.
as a thank you. And I'm going to scan this and put this online for you online students so that you'll have it.
And there's some extra copies there.
Great, thank you. And I'm going to stop this.